Why do you need promiscuity?
Because you need something of everything.
Why? Why do you need that?
There's people who want to stay single and just...
I know people want to, but why do you need it? When we're talking about... this is more of a conversation about duties and about what makes a healthy society rather than what we want, what our desires are. Why do you need promiscuity in a society?
Because you need something out of everything.
Why?
People are different.
Why do you need it?
Not everyone matches together.
I know, but just is there a reason why? Because I gave you my reason why we need family, because that makes a healthy society, healthy communities.
Yeah.
We need to maintain our birth rate. We need to proliferate as a species. Why do we need promiscuity?
Because we're human, and we've been doing this since the beginning of time, and it would be bad if that would not be a thing anymore.
Do you think it would be bad if people got together young and they pair bonded and they had kids and families and they weren't sleeping around and there were no STDs and there were no abortions and there were no single mothers and criminals coming from single mother households and people on welfare? Do you think that it would be bad if those things were taken away?
It's two extremes. I do think you need like a healthy mix of the both of them to make things work.
Yeah, it's just funny because you can't really give a reason why though, because you're just saying we need it because we need it without much of a reason.
Yeah, because people are different. If everyone was the same and wanted the same thing, that would not really be a good thing.
But yeah, I think you're more talking about what we want. So people want to have lots of sex, and there are people that want to have lots of sex, and I think most men out there want to have a lot of sex. But what we want and what we need are two different things. We need a stable society in order to move forward, in order to have future generations.
We also need people who think and act differently.
I would say that it's
you
good
can't go
if everyone is.
The one and
if
not the
there
other.
are many different aspects of life. For example, people's creativity. We need creative people, and we need more orderly people, more structured people. That is a positive way that we can have diversity in the world. But in terms of this, it's very easy to see the fruits of a society that is very promiscuous, when they have very low birth rates and when they have high rates of disease and single mothers and
that's not
the products
always
of
the
single
case.
mothers.
These are extremes, what you're saying right now.
But this happens. This happens. It happens right here in America. You look at the African American community, for example. 75% of kids are born out of wedlock and are in single mother households. And then if you look at the statistics of kids who go to single mother households, they're 20 times more likely to end up being criminals, much more likely to end up being on drugs because they don't have a father in the home. This is all borne out by statistics. So
I can't
this is
talk
why
about this side of the world. I don't know how things are being planned here, but I think in Europe I can say that this works pretty well for us. So, and I can't see it like...
What works well?
If you want to say it like vulgarly, is the promiscuous
It works
thing.
well in Europe?
Yeah, it's super. It's actually really nice because it makes dating so much easier. Everyone's more relaxed, open-minded.
Yeah.
Wait,
less
it
drama.
makes it easier?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cultural decadence in Europe for sure. You guys have a birth rate in countries like Holland that's falling off a cliff. You guys are going to be replaced because you're not pair bonding over there.
Probably, but times are changing. There's nothing
No, actually,
bad
times
about
are changing. It's going in a really bad direction. Like the native population of Holland in 100, 200 years will be replaced by Muslims.
And why is that a problem?
Well, don't you have any national identity? Don't you have any pride in who you guys are?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and I think that a lot of countries change, a lot of cultures change. So if it happens because of certain things that we do, then it happens.
So you'd be happy for Dutch people to just fade out of existence?
No, of course not.
But what if it happened though?
What if the Dutch people disappeared? I would be very sad.
Well, it kind of contradicts a little bit what you said before. Let me ask you a question related
It
to what
won't be
Jake
in
is
my
saying.
lifetime.
Do you think so? Like Japan is, although this might be changing, Japan is a country that's pretty well known for
homogeneity.
Yeah, homogeneity, and they don't want a lot of immigration, I believe. Although maybe it's changing a little bit.
It's changing a little bit because their birth rates are so low. It's actually below 1 now.
But
these places.
I guess my question for you is: would you think that there is anything wrong if Japanese people wanted Japan to remain Japanese? Like me and Jake, we could move to Japan. We can never become Japanese, right?
Yeah.
But do you think there's anything wrong with a country saying, hey, we want our country to remain our, is it race or ethnicity, or I don't know the specific terminology. Me personally, I can't actually think of any argument that in terms of objecting to Japan wishing to stay Japanese.
Sure.
Do you think that's wrong though?
No, I honestly do not care about it. I don't have a say in it, so it is what it is.
LOL Paladins donated $200.02. Jake, you can't force a love of nation onto a women. Women have a biological imperative to breed with stronger men. European men are weak cooks. She would enjoy being forced to wear the burqa.
I think that a lot of European men are weak. I think that's very true.
And that's the thing. It's so wild because I think if you would ask Europeans, they would say the same thing about you. And I think it's really bad. I think there has to be some type of understanding, but it's so far apart. I don't think we'll ever. Really
I think that if you want to have a coherent worldview about that, and when you want to think about the bigger picture and what's best, you have to be able to explain why you think what you think, and why it's okay, and why it's okay to just go with what we want and what we desire and what makes us feel nice all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I think that
I don't explain it right.
No, I think you don't. You just don't really know why you believe that. I think it just feels nice. That's basically what you say. It feels good.
It doesn't feel good. We need to mix. You can't have one without the other.
Why not?
That's
though?
my
You
reason.
haven't made a.
Because it doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
What doesn't work? Do you think that society didn't function well when people were creating families and getting
Yeah, and there will
married
be
young?
people creating families, but there will also be single people that look for other single people.
But you're saying that it won't work. You have to justify that claim. Why won't it work?
I don't know how else to explain it than that there has to be a mix.
Wait, a mix of what?
Promiscuity and like family structure.
Yeah, different people with different views.
Oh, I thought you meant mix in terms of culture.
No. That's
Groups of people.
No. That's shit. Well, we got to that because I said that their birth rate is falling off a cliff
Right.
with the native Dutch people, and they're actually going to get replaced in a few hundred years, and your country will be Muslim eventually. And she was like, "Oh, I don't really see the problem with that," and that's where you came in with Japan.
Okay.
But that was a kind of meta conversation. But yeah, I just don't really like. This is a very new thing. All of this cultural decadence that we're experiencing in the West at the moment, where people are just very liberal about it. Oh, we can do what we want. We can just have all of this sex, and we can not pair bond. And we're seeing the fruits of that, and it's not good. When it's not good at all. The birth rates are literally falling off a cliff, and that's a big problem. And women are getting older and older, and they're not marrying, and they're becoming depressed about it. Like in America, and I think throughout the Western world as well, the amount of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications that women are taking is obscene. And
But that doesn't have to do anything.
it actually
with being
does, because you
promiscuous
can
or not.
correlate it. You can correlate women who are single and childless in their 40s with antidepressants.
What's the rate for men?
Much lower than women.
What
Yeah.
are the statistics?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm sure we could look it up. Yeah. But, I mean, I think that generally speaking, a man can go his whole life just focusing on a career and be reasonably satisfied. It's not optimal, obviously, but if a woman does that, I think that it's a recipe for a disaster. Just the way that we're biologically wired. Only 40% of men that have ever lived have reproduced.